Years ago,
Whoa.
I got in a tough car accident and it got me to reevaluate I started a little company called Lazarus LLC, what you'll never learn in school but desperately need to know.
A global top 100 podcast, and he embodies resilience, grit, grind, execution, grind, and of course, execution, which is something I stand for myself.
Steven Spielberg, that dude's got a great body of work. Jaws, Jurassic Park, I could keep going. Indiana Jones, blah, blah, blah. So obviously, studios are going to trust Steven Spielberg to make a film more than Joe Schmo. But in the beginning, he was a Joe Schmo. So you got to start from the bottom. We all do. You can reprogram yourself, just like you can reprogram this iPhone. You can reprogram your belief systems. You can change what you say, think, do, feel, and believe. Potential is something that is possible in the future if you do X, Y, and Z in the present.
Welcome to the Dems podcast, ranked in the global top 3%, where powerful minds share game-changing insights on leadership, growth mindset, and business success. Real life, ladies and gentlemen, you once again welcome to the Dems podcast. And today I've got with me fighting out of Massachusetts, United States of America. Make welcome, Alan, the next level university hero.
It is the most unique intro I've ever had on a podcast. Thank you for having me, man. I'm good. I'm really good. I'm in a great mood and I'm eager to inspire, motivate, and educate. 10 years ago, I got in a tough car accident. It got me to reevaluate. I started a little company called Lazarus LLC, what you'll never learn in school but desperately need to know. And so I really appreciate what you do. I respect what you do. I respect what I'm doing. I think it's important because 30, 40, 50 years ago, podcasts like this didn't exist. As a matter of fact, podcasts like this didn't even exist 21 years ago, I think, is when the very first podcast was ever created. So I'm grateful to be here. Thank you.
I always say that gratitude is good attitude. And of course, when a person shares their time with you, they share their life with you, because the SI unit of measuring life is time. So let's get down to the guest introduction. I have prepped a really, really fantastic introduction for you because I appreciate you as well. What you do is highly, highly commendable, and the real, they say, recognize the real. So please welcome today's guest, Alan Lazaros, an engineer turned entrepreneur, right? So whose journey from a near fatal car accident led to a global top 100 podcast. And he embodies resilience, grit, grind, execution, grind, and of course, execution, which is something I stand for myself, and of course, transformation. So with a Bachelor of Science in Electrical and Computer Engineering from WPI, an MBA and leadership roles at Lens, Tyco, R&D, iRobot, Sensata, with over 20 million in revenue, Cognex over 3 million plus sales territory. Alan brings a unique blend of data-driven rigor and heart-centered coaching. Since founding Next Level University in 2015, he's produced over 2,100 episodes, logged in 10,000 plus hours of coaching. And of course, I say 10,000 hours is what it takes to master any field. So you can call him a grandmaster if you will. And of course, he's inspired listeners in over 180 countries. Today, he'll share his no BS approach and framework for achieving peak performance in health, wealth, and love while staying authentically aligned. Ladies and gentlemen, please make welcome not Alan Sugar, but Alan Lazarus. How are you, Gela?
I'm good, man.
A couple of words. Alan Sugar is the richest man, but I think in
Really?
America, on my books, Alan Lazarus is the richest man.
I would say if you take health, wealth, and love, I would say I'm very wealthy in those three. I'm very grateful to be. And ultimately, thank you for the intro. It's interesting to hear not a lot of people open with my corporate stuff. You opened the podcast with my corporate stuff. I appreciate it. You obviously have been on my LinkedIn.
Yes, and of course, definitely, I'm a corporate guy, I am a corporate guy. Been there, done that. Global Big Four accounting firms, PwC, KPMG, like you would always appreciate a person with a corporate background. So from me to you, it's love and respect to what you've been able to build. It's a body of work.
It is. It's a body of work. That is a core value of mine. Your body of work matters. I appreciate you sharing my body of work because I think you need to know who you're talking to. I think over time it's just like an asset. It grows. Imagine a home that you renovate and you improve and you renovate and you improve and you build it out and you renovate, you improve, new kitchen, new dining room, finished basement. It's going to be of more value.
So
I hope to be a high value man and I hope to continue to appreciate as an asset. So thank you for sharing the body of work. I don't think my work is everything about me, obviously, but I do think it matters. I think it matters a lot. And I think we've lost sight of that.
yes, that's one thing, I keep telling people, people have lost sight of respect and kindness. And for me, my core values in life are kindness, respect, and hospitality. That's what I stand for, and anybody who's had personal interactions and personal encounters with me will know, yes, I don't just speak those values, I live by these values. It's as difficult to be kind, it's difficult to be respectful in this age and time, right? But one thing I know for sure is when you're kind, when you're respectful, people, even people that don't live up to those values, it's it.
Of course. Of course. I'm glad you have clarity on your core values. I've got mine over here. And I think that's a good lesson in and of itself already is mine is potential, legacy, and rationality. And I defined them. Potential is a deep belief in what human beings are truly capable of. That's my number one core value is I believe in your potential. I believe in my potential. Anyone out there watching or listening, I believe in your potential. And I do. I really do. I mean, human beings are capable of unbelievable things over time.
The mind is endless. Because speaking of potential, I really want to pick you up on that, pick your brain on it, because potential is something I talk about a lot. And I tell my friends, like, you don't want to get old and look back and think about the fact that you did not achieve your potentials. And I tell people this, when you're young, people judge you based on your potentials. But as you grow older, people judge you based on your credentials. So potential versus credential, right? Where do you draw the line between judging a person based on potentials or judging a person based on credentials?
Great question. Potential is something that is possible in the future if you do X, Y, and Z in the present. So we all have the potential to achieve a certain goal at the end of the quarter. In 56 days, Q3 will be over. But how many of us will actually do it? And a good metaphor is I have a next level podcast accelerator program. We've done 19 groups every quarter for almost 5 years. And we were doing a training yesterday, group 19. There's 10 in every group, 10 podcasters in every group. And we were looking at the podcast stats. 4 million podcasts have been produced. Of the 4 million that have been produced, a very, very, very small fraction ever make it past 10 episodes.
Yes, a lot of people are not consistent.
Yeah. And an even smaller fraction are still in production. A very small percentage of those 4 million still have had an episode within the last 90 days. And an even smaller percentage have gotten to 100 episodes. And an even smaller percentage have monetized their podcast. And so Kevin and I are very, very grateful at this stage because we started 8 years ago and we bootstrapped this thing. No investors, just us reinvesting. And we just had our first $100,000 month last month in July. We work with 100.
Congratulations.
Thank you. We work with 110 podcasters and business owners every single month, everywhere from coaching, podcasting. We have a book club. We got all kinds of stuff now. 18-person team. I have 23 clients personally, and we work with 110 podcasters and business owners. The reason I'm saying that is because of your question. Your question had to do with potential versus credentials. Both matter. Credentials are things you have already achieved, and they matter. Potential is what inspires you and motivates you and gets you up in the morning. Credentials are what gives you the credibility to go and do things in a bigger, better way. Because what I've come to learn, I'm 36 years old now, and when I was younger, you're right, people would base their decisions and the way they see me based on potential. But as you get older and older and older, you realize most people are not actually going to. When we started a podcast, for example, 8 years ago, dude, the amount of podcasters I've met over the last 8 years that are not podcasting anymore, a lot of success in life is staying power. One of the people I interviewed on the Business Growth University podcast, his name's Michael Burt. He says long obedience in the same direction. And can you stick with it long term? We all have potential. Not the same. I always joke, I say I'm never going to beat LeBron James at basketball. Okay, that was not in the cards for me. However, we all have potential. But who among us is going to realize that potential? Who among us is going to go the distance? Who among us is going to stay committed long term? Who among us is going to overcome failure and adversity? And I think it's a daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, yearly grind. And to me, your body of work speaks volumes. Steven Spielberg, that dude's got a great body of work. Jaws, Jurassic Park, E.T., I could keep going. Indiana Jones. So obviously, studios are going to trust Steven Spielberg to make a film more than Joe Schmo. But in the beginning, he was a Joe Schmo. So you got to start from the bottom. We all do.
Absolutely. You know, we all have to start from the bottom. Speaking of starting from the bottom, I remember when I started these podcasts, right? I always had to like send out outreaches, send out cold mails, send out DMs to people. Please be on my podcast. Or it's amazing. I was I think yesterday or 2 days ago, I looked at my email. It's just so clogged. And I saw that there was a particular guy who's an executive, in a company in your neck of the woods. And I discovered this guy had sent me 3 emails. He sent me the initial email. I did not see it. The second one was a follow-up. And then the third follow-up was what I saw asking to be on this podcast. And, it just made me reflect like, wow, you stay long enough, right?
Yep.
You won't be the one seeking, you will be the one being sought after.
Yep.
Most people don't even have that, what I say, the grind, and of course the execution to stay long enough.
That's why I'm so grateful to be here, because in the beginning, it was cricket. I had a lot to say and no one cared. So I don't take it for granted, man. It's important. Now, have I earned it? Yes. I did 11,066 coaching sessions, trainings, and podcasts over the last decade. So I'm earning my stripes. And I remember when no one gave a shit. So it's really important to never lose sight of that. It's a duality. You have to be really grateful for the opportunity, and you have to be discerning for what opportunities you take.
Yes. Not all opportunities are actually caught out for you. You need to select what you are actually, would I say, dispense your energy towards. And I think, yeah, discernment is a very, very sound word to describe that. They say adversity is a blessing in disguise, right? And who better to embody conquering adversity than yourself? You lost your father at the age of 2, and of course, nearly lost your own life at the age of 26. How did these, setbacks reshape your own definition of success in life?
Yeah, I think the first thing to understand about that is right now it's so unique because as I've earned my stripes, I'm 36 now, and I come with a nice, collared shirt, and I've got awards in the background. I've got, my body of work behind me. I have a lot of accolades at this stage. My email signature, 10,000 hours. But just like everyone else, I started from the bottom. And now I look like a silver spooner in some ways, right? I was born and raised in Massachusetts, and the United States is the largest economy on the planet by far. It's actually not even close. If you look at the statistics.
The numbers don't lie.
Yeah, they don't. They don't. Had a lot of advantages in certain things, but I look like someone who started on third base. I couldn't even see the ballpark, man. Couldn't even see the ballpark. And here's my point. So I'll give the 3 advantages. I had 3 advantages, and everything else was against me. And I'm sharing this not to talk about me, but I want the listeners thinking of their own situation. Because now I look like such a silver spooner, man. It's hilarious. It's like, oh, must be nice with all your degrees and, you have no idea. So father died when I was almost 3. His name was John McCorkle, and I had a stepfather from age 3 to 14, and my mom and stepdad did not get along, and that's a very polite way to put it. And my stepfather left at 14. He took his entire extended family with him, and 95% of the income as well. So we went from sort of boats and ski trips to I get free lunch at high school now because our income is so low. My mom trades in her BMW for a little Honda Civic. We're not going to starve by any means, but we don't have cable. And I don't know how I'm going to go to college because I can't afford it. WPI, Worcester Polytechnic Institute, it's kind of like a mini MIT in Massachusetts. It's one of the best engineering colleges in the world. And it was $50,000 a year back then.
Oh, that's a lot.
Yes. Dude, it was one of the most expensive colleges in the world. And I went from I hope I get in to I can't go. Even if I do get in, I don't know if I'm going to be able to go because I can't afford it. So I bootstrapped my entire way through high school. I got straight A's through all of high school. I got what's called the President's Award signed by George W. Bush. It's behind me right there. Yeah. And that's how few people get it. I have a letter actually underneath it. Right over there. It's behind my chair. I have a letter signed by George W. Bush, actually by him, because that's how few people get it. And basically you just have to get a 95 or above GPA for all report cards for all of high school. So 4 report cards per year, 4 years, 16 report cards straight. I got 189 in honors English. And luckily it was weighted because it was an honors class and I never took honors English again. I was a big math and science guy. 89 in honors English. Miss Desilets, how dare you? Poetry, man, who gives a shit? I'm kidding. All right. But anyways, so I got into WPI. I got all the scholarships and financial aid. And I got my computer engineering degree. I graduated with high distinction. That was brutal. Computer engineering was brutal. And then I got my master's in business, and then I was off to the races in corporate. But the part I haven't shared yet is when I was 14 and my stepdad left, my sister moved out that year. My mom got in a fight with my Aunt Sandy that same year, actually about my stepdad. And then my Aunt Sandy ostracized us from that side of the family. So I kind of lost 3 families by the time I was 14. And so abandonment challenges, luckily my response to that, socially it was fawn. So there's fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. You become this chameleon. You're a social coward. And I think we all have to live in 2 worlds. We have to live in the real world and the social world. The social world is the wedding photos. The real world is the marriage. And in the social world, I became a chameleon. Fit in, fit in, fit in. Don't stand out. Don't lose any more friends and family. Unconsciously. But behind the scenes, it was aim higher, work harder, get smarter. Aim higher, work harder, get smarter. Aim higher, work harder, get smarter. The drive that I had was ridiculous. So kind of lose 3 families by the time I'm 14 years old. And I become this super achiever who's just prove yourself, prove yourself, prove it, prove yourself, prove yourself. And I think there's some merit to that. I think that's good. You got to have a chip on your shoulder a little bit. Yeah. But you can't let the chip drive you forever. You have to evolve. And so then I got in my car accident at 26. My dad died in a car when he was 28 in 1991 when I was 2. And I was 26, head-on collision, my fault. We talked about this in the last episode. And it was not a fender bender. This was hefty. This was, 30 miles an hour, head-on collision. Not good. Fortunately, no one was killed. We were very rattled, but no one was permanently injured. But that was my wake-up call. That was the second chance my dad never got. And from that moment until now, that was 10 years ago, I've been on this mission. And the mission is bringing personal development to the world. My first company, well, technically my second company, but my first company after that car accident was Alan Lazarus LLC, what you'll never learn in school but desperately need to know. Because I was an academic, man. I learned straight A's, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, why didn't I learn anything about fitness? Why didn't I learn anything about nutrition and courage and vulnerability and character and proactivity? Why didn't I learn anything about productivity? Why didn't I learn goal setting? Why didn't I learn how to reverse engineer finish lines? Why didn't I learn about grind and execution and grit? Why didn't I learn anything that matters? Still salty about it. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to start a company and I'm going to bring personal development to the masses. What you'll never learn in school but desperately need to know. Good luck getting speeches at high schools and colleges with that tagline. And I did. I actually got several. And I've been on that journey for 10 years now. And that's when the 10,000 hours began. And I tracked in these little black notebooks everything, habit tracking and metrics. And I'm an engineer, so everything's reverse engineered. And here I am 10 years later, 11,066 coaching sessions, trainings, and podcasts later. This will be 11,067.
Wow.
And
7. I love the number 7.
number 67, baby. And it won't be the best, but it won't be the worst. I'm kidding. It probably is the best, honestly, because I get better each time, or at least I try to.
Yeah, that's the thing, like every time you keep topping it, you keep breaking your own record. And like some of my friends are tired of me saying, wow, that was like the best podcast I've ever heard. They keep saying like it's like every new one is like the best one.
Dude, of course it is. This is supposed to be better than what I've done in the past. I am an accumulated compound effect of everything I've done up to this moment. So if I'm not speaking better now than when I was 26, obviously I've gotten worse. So it's very important to understand that everyone has potential. Not everyone's going to reach it. And it's an asymptote. There's a mathematical asymptotic function where you get closer and closer and closer and closer to 100%, but you never get there. So I'm trying to reach 100% of my true potential. And I'm reaching for that every day. And I know I'll never be done. You're not going to be done. You're never going to be, oh, I'm good now. Yeah, I don't need to work out anymore. I'm done. No, you're going to learn and grow and improve forever. And this iPhone, the iPhone 16 Pro Max, you think Apple's going to come up with you think Apple's like, you know what? I think we're done with iPhones. No, they're going to come out with the iPhone 17 Pro Max and then the 18 and then the 19 and it's going to upgrade the software and it's going to upgrade the hardware and it's going to get better. Getting better is the most important thing on planet Earth. The reason why we're not all in caves is because we got better. And unfortunately, you never see, I mean, right now we're on Riverside. At one point, Riverside didn't exist. We're on a Sony ZV. That camera didn't exist. We're on the internet. At one point, the internet didn't exist. We have lights in our studio. At one point, lights didn't exist. So what are we capable of? I always say this. I say, cars were invented when there were only horses. Airplanes were invented when there was only cars. Rocket ships were invented when there was only airplanes. Imagine what else we can do.
Dragons.
Yeah, you know it, man. You know it. Everything you see around you at one point was just in someone's mind.
It's beautiful that continuous craving and drive towards improvement. And of course, I say the only room that never gets filled up is the room for improvement.
I've never heard that before. That's great.
I'll give you that line. I'll give you that
Nice.
line.
Wait, say that again?
The only room that never gets filled up is the room for improvement.
Nice.
And there's a proverb, where I come from in Nigeria. It's a Yoruba proverb. It says, the day we die is the day we rest. The day we die is the day we stop learning. In life, there's no rest until we die. You never stop learning until the day we die. So until you accept that fact, right? I don't know. You just have to accept it.
Striving is good for you. I would say this. I say, do you think Michael Jordan is happier now or back when he was striving? People think, well, he's happier now. No chance. He was happiest and most fulfilled when he was going for the championships.
Yes, that's a thing with human mind, right? Like when you have something to look up to look forward to, the pursuit, the chase, it keeps you going.
Yep.
But when you have those goals, you just need to create something new to pursue.
We've all seen people who retire and then they start to lose their body and lose their mind. I watched.
Get depressed.
Yeah, I watched. So my grandfather passed away, and my grandma and grandfather, they were two, like, most in love couple. My grandmother after that declined drastically because she lost purpose. She lost her purpose. She lost her mind. If you don't use it, you lose it. And I mean, you look at these CrossFitters, these are animals. I love it, but they're not just doing it for fun. They're competing for something of meaning and of value. These trophies, I could care. It's not about the trophy. It's about the man I had to become to achieve it.
It's not about the goal. It's about who you become achieving the goal.
It's the goal of the goal. What's the goal of the goal? The goal of the goal. So the goal is to get the trophy. Great. Okay. To win a bodybuilding competition. The goal of the goal is for the man I become to achieve it. The goal of the goal of the goal is to reach my full potential. The goal of the goal of the goal of the goal is to be fulfilled. You're not going to be fulfilled unless you're reaching your full potential. I am convinced of that. Because your highest self is always going to be nudging you, saying, Alan, get your shit together.
We always have to go for something. And, that's one thing I always say at the end of the podcast, right? To the audience, always go for something in your life. Always go for something in your life. And of course, before we hit that end, you don't have so much time today. I'd love for you to talk about re-engineering, because you're an engineer. And of course, you've got that engineer's edge. So you have the engineering training. And one thing I know about engineers, their purpose is just one thing: problem solving. And that solution mindset is an edge for you guys.
So when you hear engineer, you think a couple things. You think design. You think on purpose. You think mathematics. You think root cause analysis. And you think about building things, designing things, bridges, infrastructure, phones. Engineers built this phone. Manufacturing engineers and continuous improvement engineers and software engineers. Engineering is about understanding why things are the way they are, understanding how things work, and then setting new objectives, and then taking it apart piece by piece so that you can rebuild it better. So if I took this phone apart, some people would have no idea how it works. Some people have an iPhone and they have no idea how it works. Most people, actually.
That was what I was going to say.
And that,
well, the 90% of the population
is what it is. They know their thing, whatever their thing is. But this phone has a motherboard. It has a processor. It has random access memory. It has a hard drive. It has software, firmware, hardware. It has connection to the internet. It updates overnight. It has access to a global marketplace of apps. And if I take this phone apart and break it down component by component by component, I'm going to understand it. And when I understand it, I can find ways to make it better. And that's what engineering is about. Do that same shit with your life. I take apart my life in every regard. I have picked myself apart in every regard. Why do I think that? Okay, interesting, my past. Watch the movie of my own life. Okay, why did that happen? Why did that happen? Why did that happen? Okay, how did that work? How does that work? Why did that happen? You can reprogram yourself, just like you can reprogram this iPhone. You can reprogram your belief systems. You can change what you say, think, do, feel, and believe. You can change where you invest your time, effort, and money. You can change the persons, places, things, and ideas you surround yourself with. And that's all I do in my coaching. I help people come to me for what they want, which is a goal. What they really need is to reprogram themselves because they don't understand themselves, others in the world. It's like a self-driving car that doesn't have an accurate current location, doesn't have an accurate destination location, and doesn't have accurate data on the terrain. So it thinks there's a road, it's really a lake. And people keep driving off a cliff and then blaming the world, when in reality, they think inaccurately. The majority of our problems in humanity, I can give you the root cause right now. We think inaccurately. If you think women don't care about height, you're wrong. Statistically speaking, the majority of them do. Trust me, I used to be short. You think I look young now? Imagine me in high school, right? If you think women don't care about muscular men, you're wrong. You're inaccurate. I can give you 1,000. We used to put leeches on our skin to cure illness. We used to think the earth was flat. Apparently there's some people who still do. You're wrong. And the truth is science and mathematics and physics and chemistry and biology and physiology and psychology and neuroscience, these are sciences that help us understand the human condition. All of AI is built on how the brain works. Machine learning is built on human beings. We understand ourselves, others in the world. We've learned how dolphins work and how their brains are different than other mammals and prefrontal cortex and dorsolateral and all this stuff. The point is you can learn about yourself, others, and the world. And when you do, you'll think more accurately. And when you think more accurately, you can make better choices. And when you make better choices, your life will be better, statistically. No one's perfect, but I can make way better choices. I'm 36. I'm Alan version 3.6. Alan version 3.7 is going to be way better. But Alan version 3.6 would wipe the walls with Alan 2.6. It wouldn't even be close. It would be comical.
No way.
Yeah, and then Alan 2.6 would wipe the walls with Alan 1.6. When I was 16, I was an idiot. Right? And not statistically. If you compare me to other 16-year-olds, I was probably very bright. Compared to me now? No. Absolutely. So I did last thing, and then I'll get off the soapbox. In my speeches, I always say, everyone think of something really dumb they did in high school. And everyone, hands go up. Who else can think of something really dumb they did in high school? And they're like, every hand goes up. And I go, okay, you would probably never do that again now, right? And they would, oh, no, absolutely not. I said, why? They said, because now you are more aware of the long-term consequences of that terrible decision. Why? You've learned. Human beings are learning machines. When I first came into the podcast space, I was so fucking naive. I didn't know how it really worked. Now I know how it really works. So now I can win. It's like if you don't know the rules of basketball, you're going to suck at basketball. If you don't know how to play chess, you're going to suck at playing chess. And so you have to learn the game of life. You can't just learn chess and basketball. You got to learn the game of life. You got to learn the human condition. You got to learn human beings. You got to learn what people filter when they say things. You got to learn the 3 layers of the ego. You got to learn productivity and goal setting and how it all works and motivation, intrinsic and extrinsic. You got to learn as much as humanly possible in the direction of your goals and dreams. Yeah.
A lot of food for thought. I'll leave it for the audience to process. And of course, definitely, we are going to have you back for the hat trick, right? I'm really intrigued to know what number that would be. But before I let you go, let me put you through the round of fire. That's the quick fire round. So, number one book every high achiever must read.
Rationality by Steven Pinker.
Steven Pinker, interesting. Number 2, what's one morning ritual you
Learning.
never skip? What's the biggest myth about productivity?
The biggest myth about productivity is that it isn't everything. It is the base of success. It's the core of success, and people don't realize that.
I always tell people something. Activity doesn't necessarily generate productivity.
Like if you have a farm and you don't generate any produce, you don't have anything to sell. Your success in the economy is based on what you produce in the economy, and people don't realize that.
Yeah. What's your favorite tool or favorite app for staying organized?
Google Sheets.
is Calendly. And of course, the very last one. What's your ultimate mantra for moving from I can't to I will?
Contemplating the alternative. The alternative is be less. The alternative is regret. The alternative is don't be able to say you gave it all you had and did all you had with. I want to be able to say I did all I could with all I had. And there was a time in my life where I couldn't say that.
Wow. For me, I draw to my faith. My favorite Bible verse is Philippians chapter 4, verse 13. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Like I love that one. Like it has always kept me going. I can do all things. Like the impossible is nothing. Doubt me at your own peril.
Impossible is I'm possible. And everything, this iPhone was at one point impossible. 4 Minute Mile was at one point impossible. The internet and StreamYard and Riverside were at one point impossible. None of this existed at one point. So what else can we do, right?
Speaking of Riverside, shout out to Riverside. I love something about them, right? They actually very much align with a lot of the discussion points we've had today, and that's about improvement. You notice they keep improving the service offerings and of course keep moving things around, new tools, new AI features. Shout out to you guys. And of course, we've come to the end of the podcast today. And of course, shout out to you, Alan. Do you want to leave a shout out to anybody?
People you surround yourself with matter. Goals you choose in advance matters. People say it's about the journey, but the destination you choose in advance matters. The destination you choose in advance dictates the journey. I drove across the country in my early 20s. That was a very different experience than driving 30 minutes south. Make sure you aim high. Make sure you work on your self-belief. Make sure you stay humble. Make sure you stay driven. Make sure the haters drive you and motivate you. Get out there and see what you can become.
To you, it is love and respect. And of course, to the audience, please do the right thing. Like, comment, share, and keep supporting the great work that we're doing. And from me to you guys, please always go for something in your lives. Always go for something. And of course, my mantra is conceive, believe, strive to thrive, and of course, achieve. Until I come your way again, stay out of trouble and keep flying high. It's a goodbye from me. And of course, from Alan Lazarus, it's also